Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another session about the autopilot. Actually, today I would like to start talking about a message that I received in the morning that have inspired me also for this talk. Somebody sent me a message saying like this that, hey, how are you doing? Um, well, I'm doing well, but I'm really missing my my like my he says like I miss traveling, I miss my trips, I miss my favorite restaurants. I'm kind of struggling with the moments that I can't do this everything, but I'm trying to do my best. All right. I understood the message. I understood that it's not easy to find pleasure on new situations, so you need to be open to create your new environment, to recreate, redesign your new environment, and create also pleasant moments on a new situation, right? Okay, so the talk about today is about our daily life routine. Okay, I would like to dig into our daily life routine. What is actually a daily life routine and how does it affect us? Well, maybe you, as you may know, if you didn't, now you will. We make about 35,000 decisions a day. Can you imagine that? Strange, isn't it? But interesting enough, how comes that we don't realize that? How comes? Well, this is the interesting part about it. So, in order to protect our brain from overloading, we develop a system which is called unconscious decision-making system. In other words, the autopilot. So that's why we are able to make so many decisions in a day, even though we don't realize that we are making them. All right, so we go in thinking mode, which is take it over from us, right? So that we can concentrate on, or we can focus on tasks that require attention, of extra attention, right? Okay. But the problem is that this is a fine mechanism, because, as I say, the advantage is that it protects us from overloading our brain, right? It's the advantage of it. But you will also realize that when we do that, well, actually, let me talk first about that. There's been research done, and 96% of the people admit that making decisions on autopilot. Right? Can you imagine? 96% of the people admit making decisions on our autopilot. But all right, you might say like, okay, fine, but what does this actually mean? It means that when we do things in our autopilot, we most of the time we do things mindlessly. Can you imagine that? It's like it's like we operate in our default operating mode. We sleepwalk. It's our sleepwalking mode. It's our default operating mode. It's sleepwalking mode. Can you believe? So we just do things based on this information that is already there, which we already recorded, and we do repeatedly the same thing all the time. So we don't need to think, we just do. Okay, let me tell you a story. How this is interesting. There was a man that was riding his horse very fast. And somebody called him and asked him, "Hey, where are you going?" So the man says, "I don't know. Ask the horse." Do you see what I mean? It means that many times when we live on our autopilot, we let the horse ride us. So the life rides us, instead that we are the ones deciding where to go. So it's like we just go with the flow, but the flow that we programmed ourselves. So how do you feel when you realize that you live like this? What do you think that the consequences are of living mindlessly? Well, we're going to tell you something. When we do like this, when we live like this, when we live mindlessly, we totally disconnect from the present. Totally disconnect from the present. But the funny thing is that living totally disconnect from the present makes also that we are also disconnect from all the things that involve our creativity. We become like robots. You know, we are disconnected from the present because we are following a flow. We are just performing daily routines which are there because we plan them. You will notice that as soon something different happens into our life, we don't know exactly how to deal with that because we are so used to follow a certain pattern, a certain routine, that if something strange happens or something like give the sense of dangers, like losing your job, something that will affect this so-called routine, will cause you to worry. You don't know the first moments, as I spoke in my previous videos, how to deal with new situations, because you are so used to be in this kind of comfort zone, right? So what does this actually means? Because that is somewhere that I want to come. That is somewhere I want to come to talk about, which makes me worry about living in this autopilot. You know what the real consequences are when we live in our autopilot? You know the consequences are when we are not living in the present? Okay. We are going to talk about this now. Okay. I would like you to do exercise, and this exercise is like this. To write yourself, now imagine you are 8 years old. Okay? 8 years old. Okay. 70, 80, you can choose. Something like this. So I want you to write a letter to yourself now. Let's say, like, write a letter to yourself to the age of yourself now, that you are now. Tell yourself everything you've done until now. So you write a letter to yourself, yeah, saying, it was so great that you were able to accomplish this or accomplish that. You know, that's okay. Do you understand what I mean? So write yourself. Let's say that you are writing yourself a letter, and you are telling yourself, you will talk about everything what you've done from the age from now. Let's say that you are 30, 35, 40, whatever, until now. And doing kind of reviewing your life. Right? I'm curious about that. I'm curious about this letter that you are going to write to yourself. Because you know that when we are on automatic mode, you will realize that by doing things mindlessly, yes, the consequences are that we lose actually the purpose of life. We don't even think about it. It might be that there is a moment in your life that this question comes to you. Hey, hang on, wait a moment. What the hell am I doing here? What's the purpose of my life? When we live life mindlessly, we live life without purpose. Purposeless. It's like the man that's riding the horse. No, the man's not riding the horse is riding the man. We are just living, going with the flow, not being aware of our choices, not thinking that we can make choices. We are even scared that we have to make choices, even scared if the situation changes. So please, try to do this exercise. Write to yourself this letter. And you will see what the results are. You know, I ask sometimes to my clients to do exercise, which is like this. Write down your future plans, like for the coming 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. How you're gonna see how you see yourself for the coming 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You know, it's very hard. It's when they discover that they don't really have actually a purpose in life. Sometimes they are not doing the job they like, most of the time actually. Otherwise they don't come to me, right? So you see how important is to review our daily routine. Our daily routines, for some things, can be very helpful, create some structure in your life, right? But it doesn't mean that you need to live a life in inertia. You can it's not about the daily routine, it's about discipline. You know, in everything in life, discipline is important. So creating a daily routine, it's okay, as long as you don't disconnect from the present. You don't live mindlessly. You keep yourself up, realizing your choices. All right? Okay, everybody. Next sessions, we are going to talk. We are going to continue to talk about that, because I'm curious about you and your purpose of life. All right? Okay. Again, thank you very much for watching this video today. And till next time. Namaste.